Okay, now we're working. And good. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Window. There we are. Okay, so we're going to look about, prototype lizard movement. It's an interesting thing about, that's where we develop a pelvis, really. And there's a particular characteristic to the way lizards move. Oh, hang on a sec. Before I do this, I need to mute everyone. Thanks, that's better. Here we go again. Yeah, there's a particular way that lizards move. Which they roll. You see the way this one's running on water. It's these extraordinary large feet, soft feet, cannot break the surface of the water. That's pretty incredible, isn't it? But notice the arm and the leg on they're going in the same direction. It's different to what we do when we walk, where our arm and leg move in opposition. Its head is still, and it's mainly being driven by the rear legs. You see that? So the center of gravity of this lizard's come down into the pelvis here. And you can see, how much bigger the rear legs are. Now you can see, let's see, now this is a, so we still, so I'm trying to, there we are. Look at the feet on the back. They're for climbing. It's interesting, it's lifting itself up on its, almost like it's on its ankle. But the way it extends out sideways, it's still so like a fin. Now it's doing, it's moving the opposite arm and leg. But notice how its head and its tail counterbalance, move side to do that. So that's because when it rotates, the whole torso is rotating rather than the, more the back than the front, which is something that happens with later creatures when they become more adept on land and develop different feet to what this creature has. And then, we get to this creature here. This is a goanna from Australia. We have these in our town. They can go for from 40 centimeters up to 2.5 meters. Quite large creatures, long neck and tail, a monitor. And see, it's the way it can lift itself up. See, there's more even musculature between the front and the back. Still, the legs going out sideways. So it has that, form of the legs going sideways, like that other lizard with the water runner, and this long neck. And it's this area here through the front that's really interesting, in that they have a hard shell on the outside, a lot of these lizards, and they're softer underneath. And the whole, the vulnerable parts of their body they keep on the ground. But the whole thing moves as they breathe. The thing is, how did we go from here? This is Tiktaalik, the creature we did last week, which had bone structure in here and, a center of gravity up here. This long tail, but mostly it was driving itself on land with these front flippers. How did we develop a pelvis and legs. You know, because it's the same thing now. If we try and do a handstand, if you're not used to doing it, it feels just impossible, doesn't it? If anyone else in that position. And we'll find if we try to walk like a lizard now, it's unless you actually work at it, it's quite hard. So we're in a similar place to where Tiktaalik was when it was learning to get more comfortable on land. Now there's one other thing. Look at this. Two other things actually. There we go. Now, isn't that amazing? Now, where is that tongue coming from? You know, it's in the mouth. But what I want you to look at is what's happening right through the entire gut. You know, what the experience of this lizard is. The life experience, you know, having a tongue that extends that far forward. You know, if you think of moving your own tongue out, and it's directly connected to the gut, of course. You know, we have, when you eat, enzymes put food in your mouth, enzymes are released from the tongue that, you know, help break the food down and prepare it for further down the gut. It also sends a signal down through the digestive tract. So the tongue is connected to the entire gut. But in the same with a creature like this, you know, it forms a big part of its experience. Now, one other video I'm going to show you about this amazing lizard called a parenti. It comes from, it's like a goanna, a lace monitor from Central Australia. These ones are big and they're fast. They can run up to 20 miles an hour, I think. So this is a picture. This is a video of one hunting down a rabbit. Can run faster than a rabbit. And it breathes through its neck. The beginning of the clip, you'll see it looking, and then its, you know, neck starts to open. It's like the whole front of its body, the whole length of its torso opens and closes like that. And the other thing the points of the movement is that the tongue is so amazing. In lizards, you know, with a forked tongue like this parenti, or the Komodo dragons, they pick up molecules of scent. So it sticks its tongue out, and if you get more molecules on one side of the tongue, it knows to turn in that direction. So it's actually using taste to navigate the world. Pretty remarkable, isn't it? Have a look at this. You can see, two things I'll point out. You know, you can see the tongue extending out as it's moving around and it's scouting the environment. Then it sees some prey, it stills itself, it starts to take these big breaths, and it's this capacity to breathe through the neck that apparently gives it this speed as well. And then it runs. And there's one point later in the clip where you're looking at it from the front, and you can see the head is absolutely still, but the whole spine is this fish-like wave motion. Pretty bloody amazing. Here we go. See, one side shortened, the other lengthened. Look at that. Neck moving. Isn't that amazing? This is it in size. You can see how big they are. That's David Attenborough, no doubt a long way away. Just look at that one more time. The way it moves. This has been slowed down, of course. That would be really fast. You know how fast rabbits go. But it's the length of its whole body, the experience of the gut, the use of the breath, and the stillness of focus. Amazing. Okay. Um, I hope that wasn't confronting for anyone if you don't like looking at lizards, but wow, what a creature. How do you develop that much power? Pretty damn amazing. Well, let's see if we can discover this. Well, I just said that's a yoga move. um, Oops, someone's.
No, I could see it eventually. I could see it. If you're
Great.
looking at my comment, yeah.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to pin my video. So let's explore. So could you lie down on your stomach? Also, some of you were saying last week that it was sore on your neck. So we're going to make this easier today. So we're going to keep the focus on keeping, whatever we do, that you maintain comfort in your neck, because it's a challenging position to lie on your stomach. So we'll see if we can do it. So lie down on your stomach here and have your arms up, your forehead on your hands, or maybe your head to the right. Or in fact, any way that you can get comfortable on your stomach. So it may be that you, can't get comfortable on your stomach, in which case lie more on your side. But, so you've got some of the front of your body on the floor. And just consider your belly, how you move as you breathe. The entire front of your body. Opening and closing from your nose through the throat, down into your rib cage, and into your belly. And notice the width of your front. Consider your arms, the underarms. It's the sides of your rib cage. And that internal shape from your nose and mouth into the throat and then opening out into your rib cage. And opening out into the rib cage, and consider right there, around the underarms, the width of the rib cage, and down the side of the ribs, down into the pelvis, and think of the whole inside of the body, the whole front of the body, at the moment being protected by the back. Moving as you're breathing. And as you do that, just idly roll your legs side to side. You know, you could imagine it's a lizard tail, perhaps. You know, a lizard tail, it's an extension, it's a part of the spine. So imagine if your spine continued, if you extended out the width of your sacrum, large, round, muscular structure. And you can feel that, of course, as you're rolling your legs, how your pelvis rolls. And maybe you can feel that through the rest of the spine. And, you know, to make your neck free and comfortable, the idea is to think of the neck as the spine, as part of the spine. So as you're rolling your pelvis, notice right through to your head. And of course the shoulders and arms, they have muscular connections through to the ribs and the neck, and that's often an impediment. So look, lift your head up for a moment. You can press your hands down on the elbows and just turn your head side to side for a moment. Turn your head and notice that your rib cage can turn. Allow your rib cage to turn. So your arms are on the ground. You know, if your elbows are on the ground, you had your head on your hands there. Feel the way the rib cage slides within the shoulder girdle. You know, the ribs are moving as you turn your head. And if you allow your pelvis to rotate at the same time, so you think of the whole, maybe your legs, the whole of your body, like those lizards when they run or move, how their whole torso can turn. And then leave that. And could you place your forehead on your right hand? Now, there's numerous ways of doing this. You could have it, you know, if your nose gets in the way, you know, you could place it higher up. You could place it on your wrist. Or you could turn your hand over and make a sort of a fist and put your forehead on that. So your head's a little bit higher. Or you could just have the hand flat, whichever's easy, but find a way where there's, you know, it's easy to balance your head. The more you relax the arm, the softer it will become. Place your forehead on the right hand somewhere and place your left hand on the back of the head. And notice how you feel here. You know, whether you're having to tighten your shoulders up because it feels so uncomfortable. Hopefully not. Try to soften yourself. And could you move your right hand over to the right, just a little bit. So you're turning your head over to the right from the hand that's resting against your forehead. You're sort of turning it a little bit, sliding it along the ground. Your left hand stays where it is, but you're turning. And now feel as you do that, you only go as far as you can comfortably, but how your neck turns, how your rib cage moves. You know, because your elbow moves further over to the right, doesn't it? So it means the right side is shortening. Think of that, turning your head over to the right here. And how far down into the torso you can feel that. And then leave that, just rest for a moment. Now, can you lift your head and place your hands palm up underneath your belly? Place your hands palm up underneath your belly and feel the gut. Lift your head. You can sort of push against your hands. It makes it easier. And now turn your forehead over to the right. That same movement we're doing with the hand and back again. But could you feel what happens right through the gut? Turning the head over here, can you feel and through the muscles in the belly as the rib cage turns? And then leave that, take your hands out, come back and rest. Now once again, place your forehead on your right hand, somewhere that's comfortable. Left hand on the back of your head. And remember the sensation of your hands on your belly. And could you now, this time, move your tongue and your eyes over to the right and back to the center. So you're just lying here and moving your tongue and your eyes over to the right and back to the center. But consider the feeling right down into the gut. Make it easy. Notice if you're pushing the tongue and the eyes over as hard as they'll go over to that side. Try to reach the side softly. So only move your eyes and your tongue as far as it'll go softly. You're thinking like we're navigating here. So you never want to be at the end of your range, where you're under strain. You want to be able to move. So move your eyes and your tongue over to the right in a way that you could listen, for gut instincts. Maybe you could imagine yourself sliding the right hand out to the right, and moving the forehead over to the right as you do this movement with the eye and the tongue. So you're imagining this movement occurring whilst you're moving your head over to the right, whilst you're sensing with the gut. Now actually try it. Move the tongue and the eyes over to the right as you roll your head over to the right, sensing right down into the gut. Lovely. Is that easier? Stay with your head over to the right now. Just in that comfortable position. And in this position, can you continue now to move your eyes and your tongue over to the right? Tongue and eyes over to the right, listening through the entire gut. Through your throat, right down into your belly. And come back to the middle. And then do it again. Move your tongue and your eyes and the head over to the right. Is it a little easier? leave that and rest in whichever way is comfortable. Now once again, place your forehead on your right hand and your left hand on the back of your head. And this time, could you move your left hand out to the side so that it rolls your head over to the right? But this time it's the back of the head moving. So it's staying in the middle. Well, not staying in the middle, actually it's moving over to the left. The back of the head moves over to the left. But moves your rib cage in a different way. Sense how it moves your rib cage. Right down into your pelvis. Feel that movement right through the whole spine, through the ribs. And now stay with your head over to the left. So you see you're looking to the right. You pulled the head over to the left, the back with the back hand. Stay here. And now just notice the feeling through your belly as you breathe. And now in time with your breath, move your tongue and your eyes over to the right and back to the middle. So in harmony with your breath. So you can sense the space above you. Can feel the connection right down through the gut, through your rib cage. And then come back to the middle and try rotating your head out to the side. Again, moving the left hand. Lovely. And then leave that and roll onto your back. And notice how it feels here. Notice the feeling through the belly and the throat, the entire head, neck and torso, how you're moving as you're breathing. And could you place your left hand under your head and the back of the right hand on your forehead, back of the right hand on the forehead. And now move your right hand out to the right and roll your head over to the right. So this is the same movement we're doing on our belly, but in this different orientation, how does it feel? Maybe you've got more time to think of what's happening in your throat. And think of your tongue. The tongue is it's the right there at the top of the gut. Sort of connected. Just stay there for a second and with your head over to the right, and move your tongue and your eyes over to the right and back to where you're facing. And once again, move them as if you're prospecting, as if you're listening with the entire gut. And the tongue sits on top of the larynx. Maybe you can feel as you move your tongue over to the right how your larynx is moving too. And that movement right through the entire gut, right down to your pelvis. And then bring your head back and once again roll your head over to the right by moving the right hand. And then leave that, let your arms down by your side. Notice how it feels to this side. Once again, place your left hand behind your head, the back of the right hand on the forehead. And this time, could you move your left hand over to the left? And feel how this movement is lying on your back. It's really different because, you know, on the front you're lying more on your stomach. The rib cage was, you know, only restricted down the bottom, so there's more of your rib cage on the floor. But feel how this twisting and this shift over to the side influences the whole rib cage and spine. And consider right down into your gut, right down into your pelvis. You know, be aware of your tongue and your eyes. And now do both. Move the left hand and the right hand, which means you can turn your head on the spot. You may need to lift your head to do this easily. Or you can just drag your hand so you don't have to lift your head. But feel, you know, that's a different movement once again. And then leave that. Let your arms down by your side and rest there. And could you just lift your feet up and down? Move your feet up and down. These prototype legs or fins in a fish. And can you take your right foot and lift it up, press the little toe in the floor and move the heel up. So sort of walk your leg out to the side by moving the toes and then the heel. And then walk it down again. Just so your leg is rolled out to the side and you're pushing the little toe, the ball of the little toe into the floor, then you lift the heel up and then you lift the toes up by pressing into the heel and you're walking the foot out to the side, sensing where the joint is, where the hip socket is, as you're moving your leg out to the side. And notice, you know, when you do press on the little toe and lift the heel, you know, you're bending the whole leg, you're lifting the whole leg. Notice how the pressure on the hip changes. You know, the hip, when you lift the leg and the heel, it presses into the floor. And then when you press the heel, it shifts it again. There's this rolling through the torso. And just leave that for a second. Rest there. Notice the sense of the right side. Move your jaw side to side. And you're moving the tongue when you do that. So think from your jaw, through inside the mouth and nose, right down through the whole neck and torso, the whole gut. And now as you go back to moving the foot, walking the leg out to the side, moving your jaw at the same time. Maybe you could move your eyes and your tongue. As you're walking your foot, you could move your eyes and your tongue side to side. And then leave that. Notice what you feel now. Place your hand behind your head, the left hand behind the head, the right hand, the back of the hand on the forehead. And now could you do that same movement, walking the leg out to the side and roll your head out to the side and then back into the center as you do it. You'll find some way that will feel logical for you. Either you move the leg out to the side as the forehead goes over to the side, or it could be when it comes back. But combine the two. But the thing is, whatever you do, can you be watchful? Can you listen? So you're moving as if you're a lizard, looking for prey, listening and smelling and tasting. Try reversing the hands, or not reversing the hands, but moving the left hand out to the side in order to turn the head. Tasting the world. Moving silently and quietly so that you can really pay attention to your environment. And leave that. Rest there. Notice what you feel through that side now. And bend your right leg, stand the foot on the floor. Feel the angle in the hip. And just press on the right foot a little bit so you raise the right hip. Feel how that translates right through the whole spine. That's pushing us over to the left. So let your head go with that and think of your tongue and your eyes being able to move over to the left to sense what's there. To smell and taste what is over there to the left. The gut instinct. And now, actually roll over again onto your stomach. Roll over onto your stomach. And place your forehead on your right hand, the left hand behind your head. And just as a matter of interest, well, actually notice how it feels first, just to lie here. And then try moving your right hand out to the right. Is that easier now? And then maybe try moving the left hand over to the left. Rolling the head and noticing whether it feels easier, whether you have a sense of the depth of your body, right through the gut, through, from the front to the back. And then leave that, stay in this position. And move your right foot up and down. And just consider your leg in this orientation. You may find as your shoulders relax now, as you let yourself sink into the floor through your upper body, that it becomes easier to feel the leg relaxing. That you can actually just surrender into the floor. And lizards, man, lying on a hot rock, what must that feel like for them? Drinking in all that energy of the sun from the heat of the rock right through their body. Well, we do that if we've been near a swimming pool in summer and get out and lie on the hot concrete next to the pool. Imagine that now, that warmth going right through the joints as you move your feet. The right foot. Now move your tongue over to the right and your eyes as you do that. So sense the connection of the foot to the senses, to the sense of taste and vision, smell. And now could you walk your right leg out to the right? Same thing we're doing when we're on our back, but this time we're using the ball of the big toe. And notice the different quality when you walk your leg up and when you walk it down. You know, you still have to lift the leg at some point to move it, to bend it, to move it up. What presses into the ground when you do that? You know, and you could notice as you're doing that, you know, what's happening? Do you tighten up in your shoulders and your neck? Can you find a way of softening there? You know, you think of the way lizards move. They're able to lift their entire body off the floor using their 4 limbs. And they do it really efficiently. So, you know, just notice where you're tightening when you lift. The unnecessary effort could be in your neck, could be your shoulders, might even be in the, you know, the long leg. And just think, can you actually soften here? Well, try, as you're moving the leg up, moving your head over to the right. So you know, as you bend the knee out, you move the head over to the side. As you move the foot up, you let the head come back. Or, you know, whatever works for you. You'll find your own logic for how to combine these movements. You know, maybe you're actually lifting the leg when the head's coming back to the center. Or it could be the other way, that you're moving the head out to the right as your head comes back to the center. Just the thing is to do the 2 of them together. Whichever way. You could just do one movement. Stay in one place, moving the pelvis and your head. And you know, where is the middle here? When you're doing this big movement with the head and the leg, you know, a lot depends on what is pressing into the ground. Well, try it actually by moving the head with the top hand. That's a little bit easier, you know, because your head can stay in the, you know, the same place in the ground. It just rolls. Leave that, rest there. Now notice how it feels. So could you roll onto your back once again? Notice your contact with the floor here. And could you place your right hand behind your head and the left hand on top of your forehead? And now move your left hand out to the side and move your head over to the left. So you're moving the left elbow out to the side, and you're turning your head to the left, and just notice what happens through the rib cage and shoulder girdle. Leave that, but keep your hands in the same position. Consider your tongue and your eyes. Move your tongue and your eyes over to the left. And actually sense your environment over to the left. And now move your head and your eyes and tongue at the same time. And in fact, as you're doing this, you could move your foot as if you're thinking of moving over to the left side here. You begin to just move the foot as you roll your head. As you listen with your tongue and your eyes. And actually, could you walk your foot, your leg out to the side, on this side, silently? In a way, like you're looking for what is out there. Sensing your environment. Moving into it slowly by moving your leg. Feeling how your whole body is involved, but all the time doing it in a way so that you can engage with where you are. You could start moving the back hand. So move the right hand out to the right in order to rotate the head. Gives you a slightly different perspective. And then stay with your head over to the left. Just leave your leg there like you're listening intently. And now look further to the left with your eyes and move your tongue over to the left, listening. In fact, tongue and eyes side to side, so you can look up into the sky as well. And then come back down and rest. Sense how this side feels now. And then lift your knee, stand the left foot on the floor. Notice the angle of the leg to the pelvis here. And now begin pressing down the left foot on the floor and raising the left hip. Feel the way your whole trunk moves, the whole front. Now you could move your head over to the right at the same time your pelvis is being rolled over to the right. And look with your eyes and your tongue. is it to look over to this side, to roll over to this side? The feeling of the tongue moving over to the right, the larynx moving over to the right, and the whole inside of the body that you can listen to engage with the world. Stay with your hip raised. Extend your tongue like a lizard. Move it side to side along with your eyes. Tasting the world. And then roll over onto your stomach. And have your forehead on your left hand, in whichever way is comfortable, and your right hand on the back of your head. And just take a moment to settle in this new configuration. Maybe as you're breathing and relaxing here, you could move your eyes and your tongue from side to side. In a way that enables you to sense your environment. Because it's really interesting, a creature on four legs that's down on the ground, it's got a really different orientation to the sky than we do. Can you sense the sky, the space above you and behind you as you're looking side to side? Can taste the sense of, gut instinct. Can that help? Well, leave that for a moment and move your left hand out to the side. Turn your head to the left by moving the left hand and pulling the forehead over to the left and then back to the middle. And feel the influence that has, the way your spine can move. And now, leave that, move the right hand back, move the right hand on the back of the head and feel the difference. And then leave that, but stay in this position. Just walk your leg out to the side by moving the toes, pressing the big toe into the ground and lifting the leg, and just get a sense as you're doing that, what's happening right through the whole body. Up and down. And that moment when you lift your leg, the pelvis moves back. What actually happens through the whole body. Allow your body to roll. Maybe you could move your eyes and your tongue side to side as you do this. And then maybe as you're walking the leg, move your head out to the side by drawing the left arm back. And just combine those two movements in whichever way seems logical. And notice when you're moving the pelvis and the head together, you know what parts of you press into the floor. How can you make this easy? You know, so you could do this and still sense your environment. You could move your head with the back hand, the top hand if you like. That's a bit easier. Because you can let your head still be heavy. But you know, if you try doing both, you move both hands, then you have to lift your head. Which means you get this, you know, you have to somehow organize the whole trunk, all the musculature in the trunk. Well, leave that for a moment, just rest in any way that's comfortable. You could just rotate your tail side to side, roll your pelvis and legs. Well, place your hands down by your side, or bend your elbows so the elbows are by your side and your hands are about shoulder height. You know, you can have your palms on the floor. And lift your head up when you do this. You're lifting yourself up on your elbows, but your arms are tucked down by your side. And look side to side. Look down toward one leg and then the other. And feel the rotation you have through the whole torso in order to do that. You know, like one elbow presses into the floor more than the other. Your pelvis rolls, and then you look down. You can look down toward your head. But sense that rolling of the pelvis here. And could you be like a lizard? As you're moving around, extend your tongue in and out. And, you know, consider each side of the tongue could pick up scent molecules. Do this movement in a way that you can sense your environment. And it's interesting, you know, as you lift the pelvis, you may notice it becomes easy to actually bend the leg. So as you roll over to one side and you're looking down toward that leg, draw the knee out to the side. And, you know, time that with the way your tongue comes out. You know, because when your knee bends out to the side, you can feel the belly. Feel the tongue extending with the sense of connection right through to the whole pelvis. And now stay with one side bent. Just rest it. Keep that knee out to the side. Notice you have one side short and one side long. So you're looking at the knee that's come up. You have your weight on the elbows. Press now on that knee and notice where it can move you. Now, if you press down on the opposite elbow and turn your head side to side here, keeping the leg up, press down on the and turn your head side to side. Feel that rotation through the whole body. So feel you're pressing from the, might be the left knee and then onto the right, and you turn to the right. Try this. Press down on the left knee, move over, look over to the right, press on the right elbow, and now move yourself forward by moving your pelvis over to the other side and then bending the right leg. So now you have your pressure on the right. The right knee is drawn up, the pressure's on the left elbow. You could go back the same way by turning your head and lifting on the left knee and pushing yourself back. So now your left side is shortened. So press on the left knee and the right elbow and lift the pelvis and turn it over to the left side and bend the right knee up. And look at it. And then press on the right knee and the left elbow and then lengthen the right leg and go back to the first position. Just move backwards and forwards like that, pressing down on the opposite knee and elbow. You can actually creep forward like this. And back. But the big question is, can you still sense through your gut as you do this? Go side to side. Slowly. Press down on the opposite knee and elbow and move yourself forward by moving the pelvis to the other side and bending the other leg. But leave that for now. Roll onto your back and rest. Sense your contact with the ground. We're going to spend more time on that creeping action next session. But in the meantime, it's enough to consider how we use the tongue to navigate. How we can turn our head from side to side, involving the rib cage and pelvis and the whole spine. And maybe now feel, rotate your head side to side, just feel how that is. Move your tongue and your eyes side to side in a way that enables you to Sense your environment. And leave that. Just rest there. And considering that your tongue may play a far bigger role in orientation than we'd imagined, come up to sit and then stand. Notice your capacity to sense the space around you and to taste the world around you. And as you walk, consider gut instinct and its relationship to a soft tongue.